Welcome to An Open Book with Harry Pacheco, where our guests choose to be an open book, sharing real impactful stories that are making a difference. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode of Open Book with Harry Pacheco. We are so blessed today to have Sheryl Chestnutt to the show. I want to welcome you today.
Thank you. I feel very honored to be here.
Thank you for taking your time to be here. And I know that you got a lot of things going on at the Boys and Girls Club. But everybody wants to know, I personally want to know, how long have you been a Tennessean and your upbringing and all of that?
I am born and raised in Tennessee. I lived briefly in Illinois growing up, but the rest of my time has been in Middle Tennessee. I mostly grew up in Williamson County before I graduated, and I went to Harding University. I got a 4-year volleyball scholarship there.
Wow.
My dad said I couldn't leave the state unless, I could find a way.
And you're kind of tall.
Yeah.
So you're using your height.
I did, but it was also important to me to go to a school that matched my values, and it really solidified who I was and who I wanted to be as an adult. My experience there, it's a small Christian school, so I had a great experience. And then I came home. Tennessee is where I wanted to be after that.
And so what college? I mean, so this is your high school, right?
That was my university, Harding University in Arkansas.
Harding?
I played volleyball there for 4 years. So I went to Brentwood High School, and then I went to Harding University.
What'd you major in? Or
I majored in marketing, and I debated. Actually started my MBA.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel like me.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing I ever quit. And I told my dad at that point, because I was an adult, I think I changed my mind.
Wow.
That's a different approach, right?
Yeah.
And then I started working at Gaylord Opryland. So that was my first job out of college. Okay. And that was my first career. I stayed there for 26 years.
26 years.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing what was what the climb was?
Sure, absolutely. Very uniquely, I'm the only employee that I was aware of when I left 9 years ago that made it from entry level as a front desk agent all the way to the executive team. So I saw a lot of change at Gaylord. I started there when they were privately owned and they weren't a brand yet. And then we went public, and then we opened 4 more hotels. So I started as a front desk agent. I was a front desk manager. And then I kept moving up. My last 9 years, I was director of guest services and director of rooms division. And I was there actually the night of the very historical and devastating 2010 flood that happened in Nashville. We had to evacuate the hotel that night. Wow. And so I was there for that catastrophic event. But I learned a lot because of the flood. I got to reopen a hotel, and I worked in the largest non-gaming hotel in the United States. And I felt like the best hotel. People said, why didn't you leave and go to other hotels? And why would you if you already worked for the very best? So I had a great career there.
Absolutely. So 26 years of just, I want to say this for lack of a better term, of climbing the corporate ladder.
Yes.
Now, there was challenges, obviously, in that. But you know what they say, perseverance develops great character. Throughout that 26 years, was there any lessons that you took away from that?
There were many, and I speak to young people a lot about them now. Especially in a big environment like that, you're always competing. You cheer on your team. You're encouraging everybody's best performance, but you've got to find a way to stay a step ahead. And for me, that was taking chances or raising my hand to do special projects or do things no one else wanted to do. Work late nights before I had a family, work double shifts when my counterparts were calling out. Taking chances on jobs people didn't particularly want, but I knew if I gained the experience would make me better. And so by the time I was director of rooms division, I had 8 departments and 800 indirect employees working for me.
Wait,
And
I'm sorry. Did you say 800?
800.
That's a lot.
Yes, I did. But the hotel has a rooms division, and that was my division, a food and beverage division, all the restaurants, and a convention and meetings division. And so I had all the proper hotel departments, housekeeping, public space, parking, reservations, bell services, valet, and then I had laundry and spa and reservations and ticketing. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I will tell you that soft service skills are important.
Yeah.
No matter what position you hold, every employee, and we had 3,000, went through customer service basics that I still rely heavily on. I've talked to church elders about it. I've talked to kindergartners about it and career planning.
Yeah.
I talk now to kids at the Boys and Girls Club about it, those soft service skills, that if you can conquer those and you make a great first impression, you know how to communicate well, and you smile and people feel welcome around you, you will earn opportunities.
Absolutely.
You will develop relationships that might not be valuable at the time you develop them, but could be invaluable down the road. And so I've been a relationship builder all along, and it served me very well and led me to some great places.
I could tell by your demeanor, you were very great at your job.
Oh, thank you. I want to be.
I have a sociology degree.
Oh, nice.
I don't use it when I'm like at Sprouts or anything like that, but nonetheless, it helped me out a lot when I used to write, when I still write books, but I do anti-bullying books, and it did play a part when I used to do public speaking, and seeing the different kind of formulated teams that were out there. Mm-hmm. I kind of used that a little bit of that degree. Now the degree that you got at
Harding University, yes.
Did you ever use that degree during that whole time that you were at Gaylord?
Yes. I mean, I had a general, I had my BBA, so I had business administration with an emphasis in marketing. So absolutely, we had a big budget.
Yeah.
And the financial part of my job was a very big part of that. So making sure that we were controlling our expenses and all those things were so important. But basic leadership classes and skills. And I want to tell you one class that I'll probably lean on for the rest of my life. We had a business ethics class.
Wow.
And values are very important to the company. We had to find values at Gaylord, and we would use those to make decisions, big decisions. And we would say, that just doesn't feel like we've made a commitment to act with integrity. And that could be seen wrong, even though that's not our intention.
Right.
Weighing things out like that. And it really started in, a business ethics class and transferred over a lot to how do you use your values, however they're defined. We defined them probably the first second board meeting I had at the Boys and Girls Club. Like, what values do we want to project? How do we want to define ourselves or be seen? And we weighed those out. The employees had an opportunity to submit what they wanted it to be. Our board did, and then we all voted, and we landed on our values. And they're very close. They're very close to corporate world.
Absolutely.
How do you want people to see you from the outside? So, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, this is touching home, like dear to me right now. So as a director, you have 800 employees, basically. Mm-hmm. You're working with different people. So there's a lot of basically managing, right?
Lots of changing priorities and shuffling and
it's a big old, you're juggling so many things. Now, not only that, operation wise, but you're juggling emotions, you're juggling attitudes, also feelings. And you can't make everyone happy, or you can't have that's not real life. That's not a real world that we live in. How did you deal with, if there was any, I'm saying if there was, if there was an employee that didn't like your ways, or was there ever anything that they didn't like about you as somebody that was directing out of the 800 people?
Um, I think generally people are happy with my leadership style.
Hmm.
Um, I'm very trusting, maybe to a fault.
Yeah.
We might talk about that later because I
Yeah.
might even say that's my weakness. But I give people the benefit of the doubt. And if someone's an expert, I want to give them an opportunity to try.
Yeah, the reason why I asked you
Uh huh.
this is that what was that helped you in your career, I
Yes.
believe, was the ethics and studying about that. I too am in the corporate world too. I
Mm-hmm.
worked for Silicon Valley for a long time. I was a network engineer. I was an operations director. Um, but it's hard to keep a lot of people happy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It is.
And they say, well, if you're not hated as a boss, that means that you're not a good boss, right? But there's something missing. As I was in Silicon Valley, was like there was always somebody that had something to say and it gets misconstrued in some ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn to kind of like, I want to say the hard way, to make sure that, um, like, it triggered me when you said, I want to be perceived as that person, and to be disciplined in that area, to be like, okay, you got to be hold up to how you want them to see you, and then have those values live up to who you are out of the job. And so I learned that so well. But if I had to go back in time, I would totally stick with the code of ethics and kind of
Mm-hmm.
read up on that. And then managing, like business managing, would be kind of the top of the line. And I believe that you've been very successful. The reason why I was kind of asking you these
Yeah.
questions was the turnaround of having 800 people love you so much is because of how you prepared for it and all the skills that you have learned to be in that position, I believe. And I sometimes it's like a blueprint for anybody that's going through kind of that director kind of route, to be able to do what you did. And
Well, we
so,
had to communicate expectations. And then if expectations weren't met, it wasn't personal,
yeah,
but we do have an expectation to meet. And
yeah,
I could talk to people about that. I always called it feedback for improvement,
right,
right? It's not discipline, it's feedback for improvement.
yeah, right,
But that's measured and it's got to be communicated. And they do have to understand that you will hold them accountable, but I also gave them a chance to learn
yeah.
first, right?
Yeah, this is what I gotta learn, because I remember coming in here last week and I had a thing with Trent. We were talking about it, and that's just you're just an awesome example of how to be, as far as um, work wise, and being a director and having 800 employees and be able to like manage that is just remarkable.
Well, I had a great team. I was one player on a great team.
Yeah,
I had 8 directors reporting to me too, and they were amazing. And
yeah.
we we cared deeply about each other's performance and success, and we
This is
rallied
why you're
around
so
each
great.
other.
Look at even how you
No, I
answered
loved
it.
it.
You answered it with. All right. So, um, all right. So during that 20, is it 26 years?
26 years.
Did you get any awards for that?
Oh, I did. Yes. Thank you for asking. I don't talk about them often, but I did. I was Tennessee Hotel and Lodging Manager of the Year. I can't remember which year.
That was huge.
That was big. The one that was most meaningful to me was the President's Award.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had 3 hotels, and we had 8 values that defined our company. And I was awarded from, so I guess that was like 9,000 employees. I got the President's Award for Excellence.
Wow.
And what was so special about that, it was the first year they had the awards. Um, We had the dinner on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go on that. It's like to be on that stage, to step in that circle
Yeah.
where all these legends have been. So cool. And my husband was out of town. My dad went with me. And if anybody asked me who I modeled my business career after, who inspired me, it was him. So to be there with him and for him to say these things people were saying about me that I I don't see in myself. I just want to live a good life. I'm not doing it for awards and recognition, but for my dad to hear that after his very successful career is
Yeah.
really special.
It is. Could you tell us a little bit about what your dad did?
Yes, I'd be happy to. I'm honored to. My dad was he was director of operations for Bell South for the states of Tennessee and Kentucky. So he was an executive leader for Bell South, a communications company. He was the first in his family to go to college, and he was an electrical engineer. And much like myself, he worked his way up. And my mother was privileged to stay at home. My dad had a great career. My father now, I'm a caregiver for my parents and my family. So it means a lot to have that memory.
That is awesome. Um, it was awesome that he got to experience that
Yeah,
with you.
I love it.
I think that was the most beautiful. I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Um,
I can't believe I got choked up like that. Woo.
it's okay.
He's been in memory care at Adam's Place for a year. My mother is there in long term care. She's paralyzed. And so I go 3 days after work and I walk him through Adam's Place to the building to see my mom and bring him back. And my sister and brother in law take the other days, but he gets to visit her every day. And he doesn't know a lot, but he knows my mom and he knows us. And with time, I'm sure that'll dwindle. But caring for them, and I just want to say it for other people because we all end up being caregivers at some point potentially. I tried to look at that as an honor and never a burden. It's hard to do, but it's not a burden to do. It's an honor. We've been asked to honor our parents. And so, because of his great career, they do have great care now at a great facility.
You have an awesome heart. So now we talked about Sheryl as this boss director
Boss
that gets
director.
these lovely awards. Now, 26 years later, we transition to a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Tell us how that happened.
Well, oddly enough, the most successful hotel management company in the world, Marriott, became our management company. And things changed. When you're privately owned or you're your own brand, you get to be very creative and come up with your own solutions, and things weren't maybe as standardized. So my job wasn't quite the same as it was before. And there was pressure maybe to consider leaving Opryland Hotel. I already told you I never wanted to work for another hotel.
Yeah.
Because I was already at the best.
Yeah.
But go be a general manager here, go be a general manager there. And that wasn't in my heart. And really making the profit margin and hitting those numbers didn't bring me joy the way it had earlier. And so it would have been really easy if I could have gotten Jesus to sit in my passenger seat and tell me what to do. I struggled for about a year of what to do, but I took a week off when my youngest was in school and I worked on my resume and I set up a LinkedIn account, did all those things, applied for several jobs. And on the Sunday before I went back to work on Monday, I bought a newspaper. I bought a daily news journal when I was getting my groceries. And I didn't buy newspapers at the time, but we did. And my daughters, who were looking for the comics, saw an ad in the paper that said Boys and Girls Club, executive director position available, and with just instructions on who to apply with, who to send an email to. I said, Mom, you could do this. Weren't you looking for jobs this week? You've been talking about your heart and what you want to do. And so I sat down that afternoon after I cleaned the table, sent the resume that I just composed, and 2 days after I was forced to retire, I got a phone call for an interview.
It's totally God.
Totally God. 2 days after my divorce, because it was, I had to retire. Um, I got a call for the greatest opportunity. And, I was talking about what I wanted to do with my life and my purpose, and I've read some great books about purpose. My purpose wasn't to drive the bottom line for corporate America, but my purpose maybe that time was about creating me for this time, because nonprofits also run like a business, especially big ones like our organization. You know, every year we have to raise our budget.
Yeah.
Every year we have to figure it out so that we're not losing money so we can stay open. And we have to get people to believe in us. And our values are very important because contributions are a chunk of our budget, right? It's gifts that people and corporations give us, it's grants that we apply for, and then it's fees that we get, three major buckets. But we wouldn't be here without a loving community. But the loving community has to believe in you and trust in what you're doing. And they have to feel encouraged and feel good about their gift to you and what you're doing. And so my board, when they hired me, they said they're looking for two things: somebody to be the face of the organization in the community, and somebody that understood the business to keep it alive, right? That financial knowledge that it's not fun. That is not my favorite part of my job.
Yeah.
We have to raise $3.1 million a year to keep our 3 clubs open.
Wow.
But you know what? We have a great team, and I've been here 9 years, and we're doing it.
Right.
And things have improved. And kids are still getting great care after school and in the summer and out of school. And it's really, it's a joy. And so I think, like you said, it was God thing. Mm-hmm. I had some pretty intense interviews, believe it or not, for a nonprofit job. But I care deeply about my board, and I feel like my board believes in me. And so we just keep serving.
So 9 years now, right?
Yes.
Boys and Girls Club. What is your mission and goal for this year?
Well, our overall encompassing mission is to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as responsible, caring citizens. Yes. So we're preparing kids for a successful future. We want to help them dream. We want to support their goals. We want to teach them about good character and leadership. We want to give them academic support. We want to help develop healthy lifestyles, being active, learning to eat right. We want to prepare them for high school testing and career development. We want to put mentors with them that can encourage them and care about them. There's so many statistics that say one caring person in a child's life can change the trajectory of their future, can help make them successful. And we have way more than one in our clubs. Yeah. And when kids return after high school, the thing they say that mattered most to them was our staff. And we have an amazing staff.
Sheryl, you run 3 Boys and Girls Clubs. Am I correct?
Yes, currently. We're trying to grow.
And we have, if I'm not mistaken, I just passed by one.
Yes.
That's
on Jones Boulevard.
Yes.
820 Jones Boulevard.
Huge.
Yes.
And then you have another one in Smyrna.
Smyrna. As huge. We just don't have as much land, but it's a big club.
That one's a big club as well.
The most attended in the state of Tennessee.
And then you have the third one.
In Shelbyville.
Oh, yeah.
In Bedford County. And right now we're helping the community in Wilson County raise the funds for us to sponsor a club there that would be part of our organization. And we would love to raise the funds to start a club in Laverne in the north end of our county. We've just got to get the right supporters in that part of the county, but there's so many kids in that area that need a safe place to go after school. We would love to serve them. We did for a summer. We found a church to partner with us, And if we can't open up for a full school year, we'll be in the church again.
I was very fortunate to be growing up in the Bay Area,
Oh yeah.
and there's a Boys and Girls Club
Yes.
there as well. Um, I loved it. I think that the people there are great.
Thank you.
I think that one thing that I take away from it, they use your strengths and they do see the potential in you, no matter how bad it is or how worse it is. The after school programs are absolutely phenomenal. I was for a little bit. Um, I think I was in their basketball. There was a basketball program there,
Oh, I bet there was. Yeah.
and it was the coaches were very nice and uplifting, encouraging.
What child doesn't want a place to belong? Right?
Very uplifting. We're giving it every child a chance,
Yes.
especially when you have two working, like a mom and dad are working.
Yes.
And
They're
this
working
is
so hard.
this is the institute you need to take your child, because there's so much encouragement.
Not to have to worry about them.
No, no, and you're not just dropping them off to somebody that's just like go on your phone or something and just leave. They get you in activities. They broaden your horizons with education and
They get snack and dinner with us.
yeah, snack and dinner.
They get homework help.
Yes, they get
Can
tutoring.
you imagine picking up your kids and their bellies full and their homework's done? So what does that look like for your quality time at home? You get high quality time because you're not rushing through those things that we've already helped you do.
It's so I want to say this. It's so huge that there's so many people that are like celebrities and that really co-sign on the Boys and Girls Club.
A lot of spokespeople, J Lo and Denzel Washington and Magic Johnson, and
they're all doing the commercials.
They grew up in clubs.
Yeah, they were yeah. I was gonna say that they experienced the club.
Yes.
So when you experience it, I guess for firsthand, there's no doubt in my mind you would like I experienced it only probably a week or so, and it left
Oh wow,
it left me happy, and I remember that memory.
Good.
Never a bad experience, always a great experience, and I was very grateful to have that week.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So, as a child, and that was my core memory. So I want to ask you now, you with your organization, is there anything that you want to highlight today as far as what you guys are able to do this year?
Yeah, no, I would like to talk about maybe the perception that we're babysitters or just a place you drop off your kids. We're youth development, which is considerably different. And we're not just for low income families. Our programs would be good for any child. Any child. Look at the spokespeople you just talked about. Yeah. In fact, Boys and Girls Club of America has just embarked on a new marketing public service announcement and marketing strategy. And I love it. And you'll see it. You may have even seen it on I-24 recently. We did an ad. America needs club kids. And you can bring that down a notch. You can say Tennessee needs club kids. And we can say all the reasons why Rutherford County needs club kids. Right. I know that the kids we're serving today are going to be our mayor, and they're going to be our teachers, and they're going to be our doctors, and they're going to stay here and work. Yeah. They are. They're learning leadership skills. Mm-hmm. You know, kids, it's sad. Kids don't get outside even at school like they used to. And if you drive by our clubs in the afternoon and it's a beautiful day, they're going to be out there breathing, fresh air and playing with friends. They're learning how to be good winners and good losers, right? Like those things aren't talked about like maybe they were a long time ago when we were in school. Those are important lessons. I've seen adults that struggle with that. I'm sure you could probably think of a few.
I think I struggled yesterday. I played basketball with some friends, and I didn't play basketball for a while because I just had a baby.
Yeah.
And for lack of a better term, it was a horrible day yesterday, and I felt like could have been a better loser.
You could have been a better sport.
A better sport. I was like, see you guys later. Walked off. Didn't shake their hand. But anyways, yeah, sorry. Definitely that's what Boys and Girls Clubs do. They do teach you those values, in which I appreciate it.
And since COVID, we've been able to take our teens on college tours. Our kids are going out of the state. You know, they might stop at 8 schools, and we have fun along the way. We have a lot of fun, and the kids are learning, and they don't even know they're learning, right? That's part of the magic that happens in our clubs. But, you know, many of the families of these kids were taking to North Carolina, to Duke, to all these great schools, to HBUs, and just all over. You know, we might end up at the ocean for a day, and they've never been to the ocean. And then we'll find out many of them have never been out of Middle Tennessee. And we're opening their eyes to big things. When I said dreaming, really helping kids dream. Yeah. And the parents are thrilled by that. Our parents are thrilled by that. And we really want our parents to see us as part of their family, as a helper, you know? Yeah. And I invite anybody who's curious that hears this podcast. One of my joys is touring people through the club and letting them see it for the first time.
Absolutely.
Because it's one thing to hear Sheryl talking about it, but when you see it, you can't leave there without a smile on your face.
I totally believe it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I'm a believer of it.
I'm honored. Really honored.
So we talked about what's going on and the highlighted things. Is there something else you think that has been the narrative has been kind of negative?
Well, you know, I would say for all nonprofits, and we're friends. We cheer each other on.
Yeah.
We're serving the same community.
Absolutely.
There's a group of us that are in a book club, and we meet and we talk about the challenges we have, and we're in nonprofits locally. Yeah. There's a group of us that just meet to spend time together, but we may share supporters or funders.
Yeah.
That's fine. If they can support multiple organizations that they're passionate about, that's great. I truly mean that. This is a hard economic time for everyone in nonprofits. And we see ourselves as people that can fill the gap to help our society, to help our community. And I'm not being political. This is just a hard time for funding that is related to grants that are maybe federally issued. We're very honored this year, Boys and Girls Clubs across the state of Tennessee, to be in the governor's budget. And that has helped us in a year that we all desperately needed it to keep serving the way we do. Wow. And our goal is to serve more kids. And that's what that funding was about. The funding is about growth, serving more families. And last year we helped, in 2024, over 1,700 families. And in 2025, it should be more like 2,100.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we're excited.
So would you say growing up, I know we talked about your corporate background, but you have a spirit from just being around you right now, in the essence, about help, generally just having this empathy of helping. Mm-hmm. Did that help you a lot?
Yeah. I mean, my faith is the cornerstone of who I am.
Yeah.
And so that does help. That helps from an ethical standpoint. I think that helps from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah.
I had a great family. I had great parents. But, you know, we leave our parents and then we have our own decisions to make about how we want to live. And I remember maybe in my early 20s, people are like, Sheryl, you live in a bubble. You're so naive. You're whatever. No, I just choose to pay attention to good things and not to give my time to things that would change me.
Yeah.
If that makes.
No.
But people always told me I had an old soul. But you know what? I was so blessed when I grew up. I had all of my great grandparents except one. I had 7 great grandparents. And then I had 4 grandparents until I was in my late 20s.
Oh,
And so, we spent time listening to them and their stories.
yeah.
They worked hard. We think we worked hard. We work hard. No, no, no. Future generations worked hard, and their challenges were even bigger and scarier, I think, because they didn't have the tools and resources we have today.
Excuse me.
So learning from them, I had 2 grandfathers that were World War II veterans.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a great grandfather that was in World War One, and I got to hear their stories. And my grandparents didn't have plumbing when my parents were in high school. So my dad understood, that what he gained were blessings.
Yeah.
And he tried to instill for us not to take things for granted. I am very blessed, but I'm not seeking to be rich.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of monetary things. I have a nice home, but my goal isn't a bigger mansion. My goal is to bring joy to others. It truly is. And right now, that's done through serving my family, helping my grandchildren, helping my parents, working at the Boys and Girls Club, being available to lead a small group of ladies at my church. That's what's important to me. Close friends.
Yeah. I had this is my own story. This is pertaining to what you just said.
I can't wait to hear it.
I'm from San Diego, and so I worked with just people in San Diego that does that were in the corporate world that were really doing good financially. One of them's actually a big donor for my nonprofit organization.
Good.
But he was talking about one of his friends. He came from I believe a memorial for one of his friends, and he sat down and talked with me because he was giving me money for books and things like that. So I was over his house, and he just was talking to me, and he said something really powerful to me. He has all the money in the world. Like I feel like what I could see, he lives in Del Rey on the top of the cliff with
wow.
a 12 million. I want to say, I'm guessing $10 million home. And we were just out there talking. It looked like one of Iron Man's houses or something. And we were just talking, and I go, he was dressed up, so I asked him, where'd you come from? Oh, I just came from a memorial for one of my friends. I go, oh, that was cool. That's cool. Yeah. He's a very rich man. He said that to me, and I paused, and I go, that's different to say that, right? And I go, what do you mean? Like rich like you? He was like, no, he's richer than me. And I go, why do you say that? And he goes, I'm not talking about the currency of money. I'm talking about the currency of being a good guy and having a relationship with God. He was rich in currency with his relationship with God.
That's awesome.
I must have was blown away. It was like, for him to say that, to have everything, he has everything. For him to say he was richer than him, because he was content with his relationship.
Yes.
But he said, by all means, in currency in this world, he wasn't rich. But to me, he was the richest man in the world. I was like, wow.
That's very cool.
So that was a perspective for me, and I will always remember that. No matter how much you have, somebody else's perspective of you thinking the worldly rich is something that is looked up to. It's your relationship and being content with your relationship with God.
Yeah.
And just living a normal life.
Yeah.
That was rich to him. But
thankfully, I've been married for 34 years.
Congratulations.
To my husband, Ted. He grew up in Rutherford County, and he and I have like minds when it comes to our faith and how we want to live.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
We live in
very-
a barn home and it has concrete floors and,
I love that.
it's on farmland and
Well, that's because that's what you love and
yeah,
what Tim loves. Is Tim right?
yeah,
What he loves.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
3 great kids and we just
Yeah.
want to pour love into them and our grandkids. Yeah.
So, first of all, Cheryl, I love having you. I love your organization. I love what you're about.
Thank you.
A lot of your business acumen is
Yes, business acumen. Yeah.
is something that I would desire to want to have one day. As far as dealing with assortment of people and then handling myself in a manner that you do, which is very inspiring, by the way. You actually motivate me in that way. Um, so I want to thank you.
Mm.
This has been a very insightful interview with you, knowing where you came from and giving that up to be at the nonprofit. Because I mean, more times than not, I think that you were offered probably more positions than the nonprofit, and you said no to those ones. I believe you are a person to kind of talk to when wanting to volunteer. Either what do you want to say to the community right now, if you had the chance, as far as donating, as far as volunteering, what can they do to help you make the Boys and Girls Club a better place?
Sure. Well, I would first say, you know, pray for our continuity, our continued success. We celebrate 39 years in the fall, so next year's our 40th birthday, community supported. So we do need financial assistance every year, but volunteerism is so important. We want to help kids with their volunteer hours. We want to help corporations who have values of service to come volunteer with our kids. Our kids feel special and poured into when people in the community come and serve with them. It might be a celebration of academic achievement. It might be an end of year celebration. Aldi's did that last year and came and did an end of school year celebration with kids. We had like 40 Aldi managers from Middle Tennessee show up, or, we've had Newell Rubbermaid in Shelbyville came and helped them with like landscaping and painting. Because we're a nonprofit, anything people can do
Yeah.
to help us, with our expenses like that. But most importantly, mentors
Yeah.
for our young people.
Yeah.
We've got a volunteer coordinator on our staff, paid staff, that will ensure that the proper training is done to keep our kids safe.
Yeah.
So there's some online training classes that our volunteers go through, and then we want to set our volunteers up for success because with mentors, we need a commitment that they can be there every 2 weeks, because once a child knows they're paired with a mentor, we don't want there to be a letdown. But we love it when career leaders want to come meet with our teens and talk about their career, because we want to give our kids exposure to all sorts of job opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Our goal is we're doing virtual reality learning with our teens with those VR headsets, right? And they can do up to 40 hours after they do exploration of like 8 different career tracks. They can do 40 hours of online like learning to be pilots, nurses, construction workers, concrete management. It's amazing. They put these things on and they're like, blood, I don't want to be a nurse. Honestly, that happened. But yeah, so they learn like that, and then they hear from real live people in those jobs.
Yeah.
And then wouldn't it be great to have a job shadow day with someone in that career, that field, or have an internship? We really want to grow this program, and we want to take kids in their teenage years right before we lose them.
Yeah.
And help them make decisions about their future. Think about the number of kids that change what they believe they want to study when they start college.
Yeah.
And that costs money to kids that don't have a lot, right?
Right.
So if they could have a better understanding and know that's that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And we can help them solidify that decision before they leave.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's actually an awesome idea.
That's what we're trying to do with our older teens.
Yeah.
We need the community. We need the community. All nonprofits do. That's what I want to say for everyone.
Do you have any like programs that like for MTSU?
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned them. They're such a great partner of ours. Yes. We have internships with the social work department, but we have had the communications department do camps, media camps with our kids where they go behind green screens. They learn to podcast. They do things like that. We've had public health and safety come in and do classes with our kids. And don't let me forget the football team rock stars, the women's basketball team rock stars.
Yeah.
True Blue Friday in the spring, the football team shows up with Coach Mason.
Yeah.
And just plays with the kids. They play with the kids.
Wow.
We did a Lady Raider. Right? Yeah. We did a Lady Raider basketball camp in July. The volleyball team painted the Smyrna Club as a service product.
Yeah.
We have a board member from MTSU.
Wow.
And then Dr. McPhee has allowed us to have our one event a year that we have at MTSU and their student union. And we have one of the biggest special events of any nonprofit in town, but we just do it one time a year.
Yeah.
We just want to ask donors one time a year to show up and show up big. And we've had some great speakers.
Is it have a date for the next one?
We don't for the next one. We don't until we find our entertainer. But last year we had, we had Cedric the Entertainer.
Wow.
We've had Jeff Foxworthy. We've had Jay Leno. We've had the Gronk and Charles Barkley and Terry from Dallas. Bradshaw. Yes, we've had some great and amazing speakers. And we sell 90 tables of 10. So we have about 900 people there. We do one event a summer, and it's so exciting.
And that's held at MTSU.
At MTSU. So that's another.
Foxworthy was just last year. I've seen the billboard.
Cedric the Entertainer.
What was last year?
Was last year in June. Yeah. He was hysterical. And he was a Boys and Girls Club kid. He was just inducted into the Hall of Fame. I was at the national conference in your hometown, San Diego, in May for his induction.
Wow.
And then he came out to our place in June. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you have great spokespeople.
We really do. And it does help. It is helpful.
So this time in the interview, we like to wrap it up with a few things.
Okay.
One of the ones is 4 things that you're grateful for.
Oh my goodness. Well, absolutely. For my salvation, for Jesus Christ, for my family, for for joy, for opportunities to help. Is that 3 or is that 4?
That's 3.
That's 3. I have to say my family.
Perfect. And this is the second question.
Okay.
If you had to give notoriety to a person, to an organization, to something that's doing great for the community, great for just something that you want to uplift right now, that's spreading the positive, what would it be?
I have to say my Boys and Girls Club.
1000%.
1000%.
Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
So you want to give them one more time. Boys and Girls Club at Murfreesboro, Smyrna,
and Shelbyville. America needs club kids.
Yes. So I want to thank you again, Sheryl. You've just been a pleasure to talk to.
You're most welcome. It's been fun. Thank you so much for having me.
So this is another episode of Open Book. Thank you, Harry Pacheco. Thank you for listening to another episode of Open Book with Harry Pacheco. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you on the next one.